Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us on the number one breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. My name is Romy Busika. Of course, Andrew Kagwa, an arts and culture journalist with the Daily Monitor, is already here to talk about the role of managers in the music industry. Uganda's art industry is still riddled with uncertainty on the role of managers on the role of managers to their artists, or rather artists' mental incapacity to understand the relevance of managers in their careers. It is not alarming to understand that this industry for artists, many of them part ways with their managers, and they do so good. Others part ways with their managers and their careers crumble. So we'd like to know, what is the main problem? Andrew Kagwa, an arts and culture journalist, is already here to acquaint us with the latest. A very good morning.
Good morning.
Who is a manager? Who is a manager, my brother? Let's break down that to our viewers who are watching.
Okay, I think one of the very first things people need to know is a manager is, I don't know how Ugandans might define their manager, but a professional music manager or a talent manager is a person that's going to turn this art of yours into a viable business. I would say they do day-to-day dealings that are going to turn this whole thing of art, music, or your acting into a viable business. They will get the deals. At times they will try to see, okay, in other markets, they will try to see that they can actually get you signed to a big label. And there are those times they will even be responsible for talking to business people that will give you the endorsements. Like, in a nutshell, that's it.
So in Uganda, what have these managers been doing?
In Uganda,
Wrongly.
It's a very sad thing. It's a very sad thing that I think we have artists managing their managers than managers managing the artists.
Get me tea, get me airtime, get me some food. They
Okay,
are errand boys.
oh, there is that where the manager is actually an errand boy, but there are situations where it's the artist that gets to know, okay, does this guy actually have ways of moving around? Like, does this guy have means of probably taking my music to this place? So at the end of the day, it's more of an artist facilitating this person. He calls the manager to maybe go around. I can tell you a situation that it becomes so sad in Uganda that at times you cannot book an artist using a manager. Like, you will call the manager and you try to ask, where is so-and-so? And they will tell you, let me first see. Like, they totally have no idea where their artist is. And we're talking about...
That happened to me when I was trying to look for Winnie Nwaji, when I was trying to look for Shiba. I called the managers, and what they would tell me is, give me a second, let me first call her. And then it says the phone is off, I couldn't reach her, she's somewhere, meaning they do not have any tracking of where their artists are.
Yet, a manager is actually supposed to, briefly, if he does not have a full team, he's supposed to do all these things himself, like do a schedule for this artist. He needs to know where the artist is going to be doing, let me say, media appearances. And you're not just looking at the artist doing a media appearance. For instance, if I'm managing you, I need to know how much time you're going to be on TV. Like, there are artists in Uganda you will not let be on TV for more than 5 minutes. Because you let them spend more than 5 minutes on TV, they will start saying stupid things. And that doesn't look good on their image. So you can even just negotiate with the TV.
And some managers are even adamant to let these artists come to a TV station to even speak for 1 minute. What are they afraid of?
No, most of the times you know your artist. And if I was a manager, I would know why you want my artist to be on TV, for instance. I would know why you want them to be on the TV, and I would want to know how I'm benefiting.
Jeez.
Not me as a manager, but how the brand of that artist is benefiting from this whole interview.
I didn't know how it worked. I was even flabbergasted. You call a manager and he says, oh, I can't reach out to Winnie. Okay, you want to speak to Winnie? What about? It's publicity. NTV Uganda, we are offering you publicity. Your artist to come and tell us what she or he is up to.
You see, most artists most managers will let you have the artist because they know it's TV. But in a professional way, I cannot let you have my artist if that artist has nothing to offer. For instance...
The music.
For instance...
What about the music?
For instance, I give you an artist, they appear on TV, and what next? If I do not have a song that was initially planned, these conversations are actually not even supposed to be started by the media house. it should be the manager who will be there, and they will be thinking, okay, we have this new project we are working on and we need to promote. So it's the artist management actually approaching the media house like, yeah, so we have this thing. Do you think there is a way we can get appearance
now, guess
on
what
TV?
they do, Andrew Kagwa? They'll just open up a Facebook account, Twitter account, and they'll just send this project on social media. They won't come to us, and then we'll see this project on social media. Then we'll reach out to the manager asking, what is happening about this new project? How come we didn't know, and how can we reach out to your artists? You see how convoluted the whole system is.
Yeah, but anyway, truth is, a manager is supposed to make this business work, and there are many ways they can make it work. Social media is one of them, if they're actually managing it very well, because we have very many artists in Uganda whose social media accounts probably are run by them, or they are run by mostly friends, or there are those that are run by fans, like fanatics that became close to them and somehow became managers. Actually, which is the other thing that will shock you about the Ugandan music industry, how most people became managers. There are many people. There is one whose story I was reading that he started out by tweeting about an artist, not tweeting, doing Facebook posts about the artists, and he went on, then the artist started noticing him, finally got a chance to meet him, and then somehow they started working together, and today he's managing artists. But this person does not know how to even advise their artists in a creative way. Yet a manager is supposed to be invested in what this artist is doing. They need to understand it, they need to love it, and that can be easy for the artist to actually manage this artist, because then you can suggest the producers the artist can work with, you can suggest collaborations they can do, you can suggest if they can change a songwriter or anything, because you actually understand the artist, you understand their art, and you probably believe in them.
Let's talk about the artists breaking up with their managers. This happened when Jeff Chiwa was actually managing Radio and Weasel. There was that issue whereby the manager was being paid in dollars. Let's say he gets some $10,000. He would come back to Uganda and pay the two gentlemen in Uganda shillings. So they were like, Jeff Chiwa, you're stealing from us. I remember very well during those times. Then they broke up. What can be done to ensure that there's that harmonization of work between the managers and the artists?
I think it all comes back to how these artists start working with the managers. When you're starting to work with an artist, you need structures. You need to create some sort of structures that I will be managing you, and while managing you, these are the things I will do for you. Probably I'll be promoting you, I'll be getting you gigs, I'll get you endorsements, I'll do this, and this. But on all these things, you're not probably paying me a salary, because by the time most artists get their very first manager, they cannot pay them. They do not have that sort of money to pay them monthly. But so that's where an agreement comes in, that when I do all this, I'll be getting this cut on everything that comes in. And so the manager's role then is to make sure that if he wants to make much more money, he has to make you more money. Like if a manager wants to make money, he has to make sure the artist makes money. I was talking to Emma Carlos, because Emma Carlos has managed very many artists. And I remember him telling me that the problem in Uganda is the moment an artist produces their very first hit, like a famous song, I've never understood why they call it a hit, because we cannot quantify it. We cannot quantify its strength. But he told me the moment the artist makes a famous song, the very first thing that comes onto their mind is that they need to break away from the manager. They need independence, because they believe the manager is making much more than them.
And from the get-go, it's the manager who propelled this artist to greatness. So
actually,
do you think it's unfair?
Actually, I don't even understand why they feel it's dangerous for the manager to earn more from them. Like, they're basically putting you there.
He pushed you with nothing.
Yes, and world over, music managers, record labels are making crazy money than the artist. So I do not really understand why in Uganda it's like that, but probably it's coming from a very ignorant point of view. So most artists believe the moment they make some they make a hit and they make some little money, they should be independent because they are in position to run everything and collect all the money for themselves. It's basically the biggest reason why many of them break up. The reason why it's messy, it's because there is never a contract or any sort of signing to harmonize this relationship. And now on what happens when they break up, it's very interesting. Like when you're an artist that has already made a big name and you have your way around the media and everything, the thing is that in Uganda it's so hard to judge whether someone is performing worse than they did last year because we do not have Billboard, we do not have ways of quantifying if the music is getting to the people the way it was when you had a manager. So the moment people hear it on the radio, they will believe this person let go of the manager and they are still doing it well. Not knowing probably when they had a manager, they used to spend $1 million to just promote a song and now they are spending about $3 million to just promote this same song. So we never get to know these things, but some artists fail because they realize the ugly reality that you cannot do this alone. And then others...
I mean, you're an artist, you've gone to a concert that has ended at 2 a.m.
Yes.
Yes, you need to plan for other things during the next day, but your phone is off, you're still sleeping. That's when the manager pitches in.
Yes, and then the other thing is that when you don't have a manager and you're organizing a concert as an artist, you'll be in for that. You organize that concert yourself. You'll be backstage and someone will come and they're like, you know what? The lights on stage have stopped working, and then you start worrying about that. When you have a management...
Yet you have to go and sing.
Yet you have to go and sing. When you have a management, it's like your role is to show up, be a professional. Like our role is to show up, do our jobs. So your role is to show up and do your job.
Yes.
The problem is that many Ugandan artists, and I don't want anyone to misquote me because they will say, you said all of us. No, many Ugandan artists do not want to be professional.
They don't want?
They do not want to be professional, and it's very intentional. They believe that the way they see the life that's portrayed on MTV, you know, on MTV they will show you there was that show that used to be called, I think, Cribs, where they would go and visit a celebrity. So they will make it look like they've come on Monday and this guy is still in bed. So he wakes up like, hey guys, you've woken me up. He takes you around.
Yes.
And so you're thinking like, this guy is rich and he's even home sleeping on Monday. So
not knowing it was orchestrated.
Not knowing that this whole thing was choreographed just to look cool for the cameras. So most artists want that life, not knowing people actually put in their work. Like people put in the work, they will have to be professional, they will have to go for rehearsals. It's not a whole thing of waking up at 5 probably, you drink and then you go clubbing.
Some break up with their managers and things go bad. Some break up with their managers and yes, they get a windfall. Reddy and Weasel, when they broke up with Jeff Chiwa, things went so well for them. They were
we cannot prove that.
They were bagging some money. I talked to Reddy and Weasel back in the day before he died, rest in peace, and he told me we are doing so well. Jeff Chiwa was taking too much money. Now they could make their own deals. So tell us about that. Can artists in Uganda survive without their managers?
I do not want to use radio as an example, but
it's the last artist I spoke to.
The thing is, you kind of threw him under the bus when you gave him as an example, but I would say, yes, he said they were working so well, and we couldn't pay for his medical bills when he was on his deathbed. I mean, that's something to reflect upon. We can never prove that an artist is doing better when they leave their management or they were doing worse when they had a management. It's so hard for us to prove because local artists tell a lot of lies when it comes to their worth or what they've bought or what they have. If we had better systems that can capture this song has been downloaded this number of times or this song has been streamed this number of times, maybe we could prove. At the moment, the only way we know that things are not going on well after an artist has left management is when we do not hear their songs on radio. And again, at times, it's so hard to prove that they are failing. Maybe they are changing the way they are working. Maybe they are not on the radio, but people are streaming their music. Maybe they are not on radio, but they are making music for some Hollywood movies, because it's a thing that artists are doing these days. They are making songs for Hollywood films and they are making money without necessarily making a hit. So it's so hard to prove that so and so left management and their career went south.
Yes.
So it is so hard to.
Indeed. But look at someone like Sheba. When she took on Jeff Chiwa, she started getting all these deals, Coke Studio and so forth. Her visibility was out there. Let's talk about the great benefits that come with great management.
One thing I can say is, yeah, Jeff Chiwa is one of the managers in this country. And he's a streetwise person. Because if I remember very well...
I like him, I just don't like the way he handled the AK-47 issue, but go ahead.
If I remember very well, the best international years of Reddy and Weasel were with Jeff Chiwa. That time we had at least 2-time nominees, MTV Awards, the BET Award nomination, like
money from those awards was the biggest problem.
Okay,
they gave him dollars, he gave them shillings.
But what's the deal?
Go ahead.
What's the deal? Because
it should be renegotiable. It should be renegotiable if you know my biggest talent, my biggest source of money, which are the artists, are clamoring, making noise over this money.
The problem is most of the time.
You don't say, okay, this is cast in stone. And
most of the times when artists are signing deals, they are very desperate that they will sign for many things without even reading. Because I had, when it came to Reddy and Weasel's situation, that he was initially also part of the Good Life. Actually, Good Life was his. So that when they left him, he could sue them for using the brand Good Life. But you see, that comes from a fact that most people sign things without knowing. And when you get to realize that this person is taking a lot of your money and you're getting peanuts, you cannot change a contract immediately. These are things that are supposed to be negotiated on. There is something I wanted to say that I've forgotten, but when you were talking about Sheba and how she's performing better, I think it mostly comes down to the fact that right now she doesn't have to worry about who is booking for her. She knows someone is going to make the music move. And like I said, Jeff Chiwa is very streetwise. If bars were open, trust me, the Sheba we are having right now when they are not open would have been double the Sheba we would be having, because he totally understood the bar economy and promoting music.
Well, he was always there. I used to see him every Tuesday. They had something coming on around the Kansanga area. They would come, the whole Good Life crew, Radio Weasel, AK-47, and Jeff Chiwa himself. So when you say he bathed the Good Life crew, I do understand. But go ahead. Let's talk about who benefits more from another. Is it the artist or the manager?
Initially, the manager must benefit more. Like, which camera do we look in when we are showering people? Which camera do we look in when we are showering people? Is it this? Yes, guys, it is the manager that is supposed to benefit more than the artist, because they do much of the hard work. The manager will look for a songwriter for you. They will look for an appropriate producer for you. They will look for the guys that are going to make your video, and probably they will even look for the outfit you're going to put on. Whether you like it or not, they are going to make more money than you're making, because they have to recoup the money they invested in your talent. They have to recoup the money they invested in you to shine. So, like, that's not even a debate. Like, the management is supposed to make more money than you. They are paying you. Like, I know it's the kind of the same thing with the newspapers. Where you're like, yes, we have the newspapers, we have the journalists that are actually making the story. But there is someone that's paying for the printer to run, someone is paying for the internet, which I'm using maybe to Google some of the facts I need, someone is facilitating that transport. They are going to make more money than you. You could be the talent, but they are going to make more money than you.
That's the way life is. As an artist, the only way you can make equally the same money as the manager if you sign the right papers that favor you.
you cannot make more money than the manager.
Even with a contract, 50-50.
Like I said, you might share 50-50, and that's of the money that's going to come. But still, someone has to recoup the money they invested in you.
I see. Go ahead.
So I don't really understand
and
why.
that is the biggest problem, because the artist who is watching Morning at NTV won't accept it. They won't accept it.
The artist has to understand that someone is going to invest in them, and because of that, that money must be recouped. Because there are times when the artist won't be making money. You and I know that.
Yes.
Now, for example, just imagine right now, we are in a lockdown. It has gone on for a year. And some artists have been signed to labels, even when those labels know there are no performances happening. And when we come back in this whole setting where performances are happening, those artists will be performing and they'll be all over the place, and they'll be thinking like, this guy should be giving me more than they're actually giving me, forgetting that there was this one full year where they kept keeping you running, basically putting fuel in your car, like they pay for your rent, like they're doing these things even when you're not making money.
If managers are doing the most and they are doing great work, why are we seeing these breakups? What is precipitating these breakups?
The breakups are coming for a fact that everyone believes they are the talent and they should be the boss, which at times could be right if you're the kind of an artist that's like Sauti Sol. I'm giving that example because they write their music, they produce their music, and at times they go as far as directing their own videos. Now, you and I know in Uganda we do not have many artists that can do that. Like, I mean, we even barely have artists that can sing.
But who does the most? I'm looking at Eddie Kenzo's manager. It is the artist himself who decided, you know what, I'm making more money from this engagement with my manager, so I'm buying him a house and I'm buying him a car. That's what we saw from Eddie Kenzo, buying all this for his manager, meaning he's making more money.
Yes, definitely.
And doing the most.
Definitely. In Uganda, like I said earlier, that since more artists end up managing the manager than the manager managing them, you end up with situations where the artist is earning more. And of course, they are rightly earning more because the managers they have turned into errand boys that are not doing their works as managers. And in such situations, you will find an artist getting to that level where they pity their manager and they're thinking, okay, this guy needs a car. Like I remember there was a time someone called for a press conference. It was Bebe Cool. He called for a press conference, and that press conference was for him to hand out a car to his manager. If I was an artist manager at that time, I'm not even now, but if I was at that time, I would have found that very disturbing. Like, you know, there is that. It feels like tokenism. It feels like you
like you pity this individual.
Yeah, you pity this individual. Then you're throwing a bone.
But what about people like Gravity Omutuju? He has managed to be a lone wolf. He has survived without a manager. How does he do it? And how can people who want to join him be able to do the same?
We cannot see his books of accounts, so we don't know if he's doing it well. Probably he's
But if you go somewhere in the city and just scream Gravity,
yes,
you'll get your reaction about whether or not he's popular.
But are the books really balancing?
I see.
You could find he's spending more money in promoting the music, which he might not have spent if he actually had a manager and they would do a card. Like, I mean, we always move a longer distance when we move with others than when we decide to move alone. Like, I do not know if there is anything to prove that he's doing better than he would have done when he did not, if he had a manager. Like, I totally believe he's spending more money. Like, there are times I've gone for his concerts and like people have been literally calling us, asking us, so would you want to go for a concert? And they're giving you free tickets. And you're thinking, okay, if this guy actually had management with the way with the way people like his music, if he had management, I believe there was more he could do with his fame. Personally, I think there is more he could do with his brand. He could endorse things. He could be an ambassador of things. Like there is more that this person can do with his brand, which I think he's not doing when he decides to be alone without management. And yeah, the other person that openly usually says he doesn't need to be overmanaged is usually Bebe Cool, and I believe that's the reason why his manager is a guy that used to be, I think, his backup vocalist. When most of the times when you say you do not want to be overmanaged and you can run most of the affairs yourself, there are places you will not get to. Yet you would have gotten to with management. At times you have a very big brand, but what's stopping you is the management.
All right, let's wrap up this conversation. Andrew Kagwa, he's an arts and culture journalist. It's more like an apples and oranges kind of issue. Moving along or having a manager behind your back. Now, just speak to the artist right there who's thinking, I should actually go at it alone, because managers in the past, and according to what I've been seeing, have been swindling a lot from their artists. So I'm thinking I should go alone. So convince that artist that they shouldn't, and they should get a manager who is trustworthy.
One thing I would say is you need to know the kind of manager you need. You're not just going to wake up and walk into the arms of everyone that shows up and you call them managers. I mean, one, there is a chance of getting a manager that totally understands the genre you're doing, and that's a very good thing. Getting someone that understands the genre you're doing, because they will know where to take your music, they will know who to deal with, they will know who to talk to, and they will know which places you can perform at. For example, there are contemporary artists that are probably looking for festivals, looking for places where they can play that kora and enanga and be appreciated very well. Those people need the right management. And that management is there. Like I don't know if this is a place where I can mention some names.
Please do.
But for example, if I was a contemporary artist, I would look for Charism's business. They've dealt with many of artists of a kind, and because they are the ones that are doing Sandra Suvi, they're doing Kenneth Mugabe, so you can sense their taste. Maybe if I'm a Chidandali artist, I know most people hate saying that. If I was a Chidandali artist, I would look for Jeff Chiwa, I would look for Emma Carlos.
All right.
These are the kinds of people, like, they know the market, and everyone knows their kind of
If you're an artist, get yourself a manager. In a nutshell, that's what Andrew Kagwa is saying. Many thanks for having made the time to speak to us, Andrew Kagwa.
You're welcome.
He's an arts and culture journalist with the Daily Monitor, and he comes with a wealth of information. And of course, all the kings, queens, boys and girls who are celebrating their birthdays on this particular day, we wish you a joyous one. And in particular, Mr. Frank Katora. Yes, he is the director, Tender Talent at Magnetic School. And my studio director, that is Dan Sebachije, wishes you a joyous birthday. Of course, special thanks to my studio cameraman, that is Mr. Kulubazi, and also my producer, that is Collins Inamundi, and also Shafiq right there. I see you, my brother. And also, we have a march on Sunday. NTV Spark TV is taking on some artists from Mpaka Records. Do not miss that march, and I'm sure NTV shall win, because I'm always rooting for the best team in the world. And of course, morning at NTV has come to an end. My name is Romeo Busiku. Let's do this again on Monday. We do have a lot in store for you. Please mark your dates.